Hello, welcome to Local Anaesthetic Podcast, the most trusted name in local news. My name is Alex, and joining us as always via Skype is Rob. How you doing there, Rob?
Hello, folks. Yeah, I'm not too bad, thank you.
Because this is episode 274, Rob, and we are recording for the fastidious amongst you, and we know there are many out there who are a stickler for this kind of information. We're recording on the 23rd of May, 2019, Rob, and it has been a glorious day. I mean, we're down in London, but the weather has been absolutely fantastic. Because I think, Rob, it is technically still spring, isn't it? But it felt like summer today.
No, I think it's now officially summertime.
It can't be officially summer, Rob. Think about it. Spring started at the end of March. Spring cannot be April and a bit of May.
No, possibly not. But I mean,
I don't think summer officially starts till sometime in late June, early July.
But Alex, with global warming, let's face it, all the seasons out of whack. I mean, I was on if you can imagine, on my birthday in February, I was walking on the beach in 22-degree heat. That is absurd. I have to say that, Rob, it's also frightening, because my biggest worry is if you and I have kids one day, not together but separately with women, crushing my dreams again.
Or men and adopt, whichever way we both do it. Do you worry about this, that if you have a child, you will literally... if I'm aware that if I have a child, in their lifetime, they will probably experience a sort of extinction sort of event, some sort of Armageddon, as it were.
Yeah.
Do you think about this? I
do, yeah. And I think it's becoming more and more prevalent. I do not understand people who deny climate change. I mean, I suppose when you have a very narrow... source information, mainly YouTube, then it's easy to ignore these facts.
Sorry to interrupt, Rob. I don't think it's not that. What you've got to understand is a lot of people don't deny climate change. They deny that climate change is being mainly contributed to do by man, by humans. So what they say is that these cycles have always happened and will always happen, and that's true. We've had ice ages before when humans weren't even around, and we've had the opposite when humans weren't even around. That is true. Things are cyclical. But the idea that we're not contributing, because normally these things, it goes over epochs. You know, we're seeing changes in like decades to the environment.
But because we're exacerbating the problem.
Yeah, just like if you smoke, 100 B&H a day, you're going to get lung cancer. It would stand to reason that everything we're chucking out into the atmosphere is having an impact. But Rob, it is very worrying, and I don't know really how we've gotten off into this tangent. I think I started it, but lest we make our listeners depressed and ourselves depressed, Rob, let's bring ourselves back from the brink of that and just forget it. Just let's have a bit of cognitive dissonance and pretend that everything's going to be okay.
That's the best way, Alex. I think that's the way we need to move forward.
Okay, Rob, do you have any news for us before we get into our local anaesthetic,
Yeah, just a few bits of news. So Steve said he really enjoyed the last episode, particularly the story about the lady who was adamant that the local council weren't going to remove her fireplace, which is a fantastic story. I think that is already one of my favourites of the year. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Yeah, and on the back of that, Face the Strange has been in touch saying that it would take a lot of work to mock up the pilot episode of forced home improvements.
My idea for a ITV show hosted by Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen and Roland Ratt, Forced Home Improvements, where they basically knock on the door of unsuspecting sort of homeowners, barge their way in and force home improvements upon them, whether they like it or not.
Yeah, absolutely. So
he doesn't have to do a program of it, but he could do like a poster advert for it, the sort of thing you might see on the tube.
Yeah, I suspect he may do in time. And what he has done for us, he has provided an image of a bold Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen. So if nothing else, I could give it a go and I can try and mock it up.
Is Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen bald? Does he wear a rug?
No. I think he still has a good head of hair.
Right. So why did he make him balding? Just to make him look more intimidating?
Purely because I think you speculated that in this episode he'd gone bald. So
I see. Phil Mitchell star.
Exactly. Yeah.
I see. Rob, should we? Oh no, we should say as well. We should actually say that last week we promised that we'd feature a story from a new listener who was called
John.
John, that was it. He submitted us a story, but upon reviewing it, because we do vet things, we do review them, the story he submitted was incredibly bleak and actually pretty horrific, actually, I would say, Rob. And what was bizarre about it, as with many local newspapers stories, is that the content was horrific, but it decided to include oddly comical photos, which I think were highly inappropriate given the disturbing content of the story. And due to its content, we cannot feature it. But John, that does not mean you should not submit stories. We love getting stories from all of our listeners, but we do have to screen them. You know, Rob and I do have a taste boundary, I would say. I mean, it's pretty low, high, which is it? I can't remember. What's the...
Either way, Alex, stop labouring the point. I mean, there were elements of the story that were quite surreal and I think were comical, but at the end, I think the whole thing, it was just too bleak. But what I may do, pick out a few pictures from the story to post on Facebook.
I wouldn't do that. If anything happens to the poor woman in that story, then I wouldn't do that. Rob and I always have to think ahead of what could happen. Right, Rob. On this European election night, Rob, let's get on with the podcast and not mention anything to do with it. I think broadcasting rules, Rob, make it illegal for us to try and influence voters.
Absolutely, yeah. Despite the fact that when this is released, it'll be after the election and will make no difference whatsoever.
I do love the fact, though, Rob, that I was listening to LBC today and then I put on Sky News, and it was just the tawdry stuff they have to talk about. It is bizarre. There's this big election going on. Theresa May might be out of Downing Street by tonight, and they can't talk about any of it. I mean, it's just extraordinary.
It just reminds you of a time before Brexit, doesn't it? The good old days.
You're absolutely right, Rob. Right, Rob. I'm sure you've heard about that, Rob. Talking of traumatising stories, I don't want to traumatise you, Rob, but I'm assuming you saw about this, but I feel a need to have to report on it. This was from the Traitorous Guardian, Rob. And this is going to upset you. It's going to upset you personally, Rob. It didn't upset me, but it will upset you. By Amy Walker from the 19th of May. I think as soon as you must have seen this. I'm sure you've done nothing else but read about this, Rob. This is a headline. You just take a deep breath, Rob. Model railway lovers devastated as vandals smash years of work, Rob.
I am aware of this, Alex, yeah. And amazingly, as I disclosed last week on the podcast, I am an avid listener to Radio 2, and Jeremy Vine did half an hour on this.
Really? Is he a model railway enthusiast?
No, but he got the president of the UK's Model Railway Club in, and also it turns out that... does it mention the donation from Rod Stewart?
Yeah, well, that was my follow-up story, yeah.
Right.
Well, right. Let's tell listeners... Before we tell listeners about it, Rob, you should explain that you do actually... And I didn't know this until reasonably recently in our friendship, that you... Not only are you a big fan of trains, the real trains, but you're also a fan of model trains.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Which I have to say, whenever I've seen them, are exquisitely made.
They are, they're beautiful.
And I'm looking at Rob now as well in his kitchen, and I mean, his whole house is covered from wall to ceiling in Thomas the Tank Engine memorabilia.
Yeah? Is that a problem?
Well, I only think the duvet that you've got in the bedroom, I'm not sure. Doesn't Sarah find that a bit odd with the big Thomas the Tank Engine face on it?
No, I think she finds it quite appealing. If anything else, it's probably a turn on, I would think. I mean, she's never expressed that personally.
I don't think you referring to yourself as Thomas the Wank Engine that she finds that appealing.
How did you know about that?
Well, I sometimes leave the Skype on after we finish, and I pick up various things. Rob, right. I should just say to this, is the Thomas the Tank Engine stuff is a joke, but Rob actually liking model railways is true. So, you judge him how you wish to judge him. But
I mean, there's no judging, Alex. I mean, this is a healthy pastime for adults to have. I mean, I have a double O gauge, I have an N gauge as well, and it keeps me out of trouble. I mean, if anything, it's almost cut down. Well, it's almost stopped my heroin usage.
Freud would have argued, Rob, that your fascination with watching trains go around tracks and through tunnels and all of that was quite a sexual thing.
Again, who told you that?
Right, anyway, let's get on with the story. Vandals, Rob, mindless vandals, have smashed up a model railway show, causing thousands of pounds worth of damage and leaving exhibitors devastated and distraught. Now, Rob, we've featured many stories over the years where we've really enjoyed people just smashing into buildings for no reason and just ruining, just trashing the crap out of everything for a jape. Members of Market Deeping Model Railway Club were forced to cancel their annual exhibition at Welland Academy in Stamford, Lincolnshire, after the break-in and rampage in the early hours of Saturday morning. The club's chairman, Rob, Peter Davies. Any relation, Rob?
No, strangely not, no. I mean, that was my dad's name, but no.
Right. 70 told BBC News that the exhibits, including a locomotive unit worth around £8,500, had been smashed, thrown around, Rob, and stamped on. This reminds me, Rob, of when those people broke into the bee sanctuary in Catford and drowned the bees.
I mean, Alex, it doesn't remind me of that at all, because this is far, far worse. I mean, of all the stories we featured on this podcast, this is the most depraved, the most disgusting. I mean, how can anyone in their right mind not be appalled by this wanton vandalism?
4 youths, Rob, who were arrested on suspicion of burglary and criminal damage, have since been released on conditional bail pending further inquiries. You've always got to be careful, Rob, when reading a story, not to read the word burglary as buggery. Because that would change the slant of this story a great deal.
I mean, if they were bugging themselves with a train or buggering a train...
I didn't say that. Whoa.
Well, did I? And I've never done it. I mean, obviously...
Rob, club... Okay, well, we have to stop. Club members had spent Friday setting up scale models on tables in the school's hall for their annual show, which was due to open on Saturday and had expected between 500 and 600 visitors. I trained as a teacher and a youth worker, but I'm in total confusion, Davies told the BBC. Models that were made over years were trodden on and thrown around. It's a total wanton destruction of the highest order. I've never experienced anything like it. And, Rob, this is his quote of the day. He says a hurricane would have done less damage.
I mean, that might well be the case. Alex, have you ever seen... I mean, I don't think you understand the love and the passion that goes into...
Yes, but him saying a hurricane would have done less damage is a ridiculous statement. And also is offensive to people who've lived through hurricanes where they've lost their belongings, maybe even their lives.
I mean, okay, yeah, the second point maybe. But I think if you can imagine it on a miniature scale, okay, imagine if you're one of those tiny people on one of those tiny platforms. From that perspective, this could seem like a hurricane.
Well, these youths must have felt like giants, Rob.
Exactly. Yeah. And maybe that's what they got from it. Maybe they're part of their psyche that wants to exert this this Herculean strength by going in and smashing up this work of this pure joy and this masterpiece, Alex.
Rob, some of the models have been thrown through basketball hoops by the vandals. Now, Rob, my question is, how do they know that? Right, think about it. There's a train set on the floor, maybe it's underneath the basketball hoop, but you don't know that it's been thrown through it unless you've got CCTV of that action happening.
My only concern is that they've looked at the basketball hoop and they found maybe, I don't know, a wagon or a piston or, God forbid, a chimney just hanging from the basketball hoop. I mean, it's too devastating to think about.
I've got no idea what you're talking about. But what I will say, Rob, is that Davies said one club member who had spent 25 years working on an exhibit that had just been wrecked was devastated. Rob, if you're spending 25 years working on a railway exhibit, I believe that's a serious negligence of your own life, really.
Alex, you're out of order. You don't understand beauty.
He says we'll never have the time to build these sorts of layouts again. That's where the anger comes from. Davies said the club had received offers of support from across the world, including, Rob, New Zealand. A crowdfunding page set up to raise money to salvage the exhibition had gained more than £30. No, I'm only kidding. £30,000 in donations by the end of Sunday, which is quite extraordinary. We will rise from this, he says, Rob. No question. We will be bigger and better, but we will never get the years back it took to build those exhibits.
I'm lost for words, Alex. I mean, I don't think anyone can... I mean, only if you've seen a scale model, you've seen the beauty, you've seen the effort...
All right, Rob. Listen, Davies told the Rutland and Stamford Mercury... Now, that's a paper I want to look up.
Interesting fact, the Rutland is the smallest county in the UK. For fans out there.
Right.
Hello?
He told that local newspaper that the incident was heartbreaking and said there were grown men, Rob, with tears in their eyes because of what had been done. And I was one of them.
Yeah, me too, when I heard about it.
Yeah, and Lincolnshire police are, on the case. Now, what happened afterwards, Rob? Surely, if that shows the worst of humanity, Rob, surely what happened after showed the best. Because it was reported, Rob, on the 20th of May, the very next day, Rod Stewart donates £10,000 after model railway club vandalised. Now, Rob, I only read the headline. I'm assuming it is the Rod Stewart and not just another Rod Stewart.
No, it is the Rod Stewart. I believe he has his own model railway in his back garden. He's a massive railway fan.
Well, he's 74 and he's promised to donate £10,000. He's built up his own model railway over more than 20 years, and he urged fellow musicians to dig deep after the vandalism. Do you think, Rob, there should be a charity single in the vein of Band-Aid to help this, whatever it is, this train exhibit?
Without a doubt.
And if so, what should it be called?
Steam Aid, obviously. I mean, it goes without saying, Steam Aid. Because I can't think of a pun that's related to live.
Trains in Pain?
Trains in Pain is very good, yeah.
Do you want to sing a song? Trains in Pain. Go. You're Bob Geldof or Rod Stewart.
Trains in pain all across the world. Trains in pain. Need your money now.
That's beautiful, Rob.
Thank you, Alex. I'm going to release it as a single.
So, yeah, apparently months of planning had gone into the exhibition. Some of the models were irreplaceable. Stewart said, Rob, in a statement, "I was absolutely devastated to hear that vandals had destroyed what was to be a lovely show by the Market Deeping Model Railway Club over the weekend. The collection was priceless, and I'm donating £10,000 to help compensate those affected, and asking fellow enthusiasts Jules Holland, Roger Daltrey and others to do the same." Can I say, I'm not surprised about Jules Holland. He's a cunt. But I am surprised about Roger Daltrey. That saddens me.
Sorry, I feel I need to ask, what have you got against Jules Holland?
Oh, come on, Rob. He's been doing the same shtick for years. He's oily. I once was in a Greenwich bookshop and I was browsing the books next to Jules Holland. He was wearing a trench coat.
I mean, I can believe that. I think because he lives in Blackheath, doesn't he? I believe.
Yeah.
Can I ask what books he is perusing?
I didn't look, and I don't want to make a joke about it because any joke I make will in some way probably slander him because I didn't see what books he was looking at.
Fair enough.
Stewart added, "It took me 23 years to build my model railway, so I feel their pain." The singer is said to own a model of New York's Grand Central Station, complete with talking conductors and air-conditioned skyscrapers. He has said previously, "All the little guys in the engines are talking. It's unbelievable, it really is. Don't say it's a train set. It's a scale model railway."
Alex, I can't help detecting a slight air of sarcasm in your voice.
Well, look, my room that I'm sitting in here, the local anaesthetic studios, one half of them, is filled, as you know, literally wall to ceiling with Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Toys, basically. But I don't actually get them out and play with them. That's the difference.
No, but have you never, I don't know, on a, just an average Saturday afternoon, have you never sort of sat down and considered building the ice planet Hoth?
But Rob, yes, okay, but Rob, wait. Star Wars is at least fantastical. What is it about trains which are incredibly mundane, which can be interesting? What is it that you find interesting about trains? No, I'm genuinely interested, and I'm not judging you at all. What is it about trains that gets the heart racing, that is so evocative to you? Tell me, I really want to know.
Well, there's always been a love of steam trains and steam engines because I think it harks back to a time when, when Britain was great. And
no, Rob, stop fucking me around. What is your personal interest in it? Why do you like trains?
I think one person described it as a steam engine is the closest thing to a living being that's been created by man. To see an engine is really quite evocative, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And what I think it is, and also it's precision engineering. I mean, you're thinking these engines could travel over 100 miles an hour, go over 100 years ago. We only go 125 miles an hour now. Hello?
Your pitch there, Rob, was so stirring that I've just ordered my first model railway set.
I'm very pleased for you, Alex.
To go alongside the ones I stole from that exhibit. Now,
not funny.
My last story, Rob. Oh, should it be this one? Yeah, I think this is also from the Guardian. Oh, but I've got.
Have you just given up on local news again?
No, I've really I've been searching everywhere. There just really hasn't been anything. But this is from the 23rd of May. But this has to be read out, Rob. Dog gone. Healthy pet put down in Virginia so it can be buried with owner. The unusual death, Rob. Rob, you look genuinely shocked.
Just read the story, Alex.
The unusual death of a woman's dog in Virginia has sparked outcry and a debate over whether it's okay to kill a healthy pet and bury it with its owner, according to their dying wish.
Can I answer that?
Yes.
No.
Emma, a Shih Tzu mix, was euthanized and cremated in March, as per its owner's will. The dog was put down despite the efforts of animal shelter workers who spent 2 weeks trying to talk the executor of the woman's estate out of the plan. I should say that's executor of the woman's estate. The dog wasn't, not executor in the sense of the executor of the dog.
Thank you for clarifying.
Emma was reportedly taken to a vet, put down, and then taken to a pet cremation centre in Richmond, Virginia, and the ashes given to the executor in an urn for burial. We did suggest they could sign the dog over on numerous occasions because it's a dog we could easily find a home for and rehome, said Carrie Jones, manager of Chesterfield Animal Services. In Virginia, pets are considered personal property, and according to the American Veterinary Medical Association, vets are allowed to perform euthanasia in such cases, Rob. Some cemeteries are also allowed to bury pets with their owners, so the issue is more an ethical than a legal one. Do you have any comments so far, Rob?
I have one comment, and
yes.
The only way I'd find it legal, or at least morally acceptable, is if the opposite applied.
What?
So if the pet dies, then they have to kill the owner as well.
But the pet can't write a will to say, I want to be buried.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
No.
Would you like to be buried with your cats, Rob?
Well, I mean, should I say this on the podcast?
Yes.
Yeah, it's fine. It's in the ground now. So that's really insensitive. I don't mean that. Right. So my father, when he was interred.
This really is gallows humour, Rob.
No, I know, and I don't mean it to, and I'm not trying to make anyone feel awkward. But basically, when my father's ashes were interred, he was
What does interred mean again?
Placed in the ground.
Yes.
Or scattered basically. His ashes were combined with the dog's.
What dog?
Our dog.
The dog from when you were young?
Yeah.
So what you still had the dog's ashes?
Yeah. I didn't. I think he kept them, but that
Did he really like the dog?
He adored the dog. Yeah, Katie, her name was, and he absolutely adored
Katie.
her. Yeah, and one of his wishes was he'd always expressed the desire to be buried, or at least to be. Well, buried or cremated with... I mean, the dog was already cremated, obviously. We weren't keeping the corpse.
Rob, how did Katie die? Just old age, or...?
Yeah, that was it. She was just old, and he was beside himself when the dog passed away.
Really?
Yeah. So last year, when we interred his ashes, yeah, it wasn't just him. It was him and the dog as he requested.
So you've got a personal connection to this story then. But the difference is, would you have, if Katie was still alive, would you have killed the dog in order, or would you have let her die of natural causes? Because I don't see why this woman has to be buried with her straight away. Is she really thinking so literally that if she believes in an afterlife, and there's nothing wrong with that, plenty of people believe in an afterlife, I believe in an afterlife, but don't take it so literally to believe that as soon as you die, you're sitting around waiting for the, I don't think time has the same meaning that it has to us here.
No, absolutely. There is no justification to say, well, she's popped her clogs, we may as well kill the pet off as well.
Well, Dr. Kenny Lucas, a veterinarian at the Shady Grove Animal Clinic, can I just say...
I mean, just... What else do you need to know?
I'm going to have business cards put up that I work at Shady Grove.
I mean, of course they put the pet down. I mean, what else are they doing?
No. He said he wouldn't go ahead with such a request.
Oh, I'm sorry, right.
Whenever we're faced with a euthanasia situation, it's a very emotional situation and beyond everything we talk about that we need to do ethically, and we've taken an oath to do. Also, it's something we take home too. It weighs on us as professionals. Larry Spiaggi, the president of the Virginia Funeral Directors Association, said he found the practice of euthanizing a healthy dog and burying it with its owner abhorrent, and a state lawmaker is considering legislation to address the problem. You didn't answer me, Rob. Would you like your cats to be buried with you? Would you, when they pass on, which will hopefully be before you, I'm not wishing them ill, but I mean, I'm hoping you live a very long, fruitful life. Will you keep their ashes around, and will you put in your will that you want to be... what's your thoughts?
What I'm planning to do is once their time comes, I plan to have them skinned and made into 2 very small rugs.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And that way they can all...
Or some shoes, maybe some nice catskin shoes. That is obviously a joke, and I plan to have them stuffed and made into some sort of ornament.
I like the shoes idea because that literally is Puss in Boots, isn't it?
Yes, and then I'm going to go to London and seek my fortune.
Okay, Rob, you got a story for us.
Yeah, so the first story I came across in The Independent, however, as their website now requires you to sign in or turn your ad blocker off, which I'm not willing to do, I've decided to look for the story in a local newspaper.
Which I thought we were meant to be doing that anyway. I thought that was our new policy.
Well, when I actually looked for the story, it wasn't featured in a local newspaper.
Same here.
So I think what's happened is, because it was a press association story originally, all the local papers have now lifted it verbatim and splashed it across all their front pages. So although the story takes place in Wales, this is from the Leicestershire Live website.
Okay. I don't think we've ever had a story from the Leicestershire Live.
No, I don't think we have either, actually. Not to my recollection, anyway.
So I'm always really happy when it's a first for a local paper that we haven't featured.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's quite nice, actually.
Have we ever worked out how many local papers there are in Britain, or have we never bothered to look into it? Does anybody even know?
I'm sure someone knows, but it's not me.
Right.
So anyway, this story is from the 13th of May. As I said before, it's originally from the Press Association by Ben Mitchell and Daniel Smith. And the headline: Till tries to charge £4 billion for eye drops.
Seems reasonable. Depends on the quality of the eye drop.
Well, exactly, yeah. Specsavers customers shocked when he was asked to pay more than £4 billion for a bottle of eye drops.
Hang on, I don't want to stop this story dead in its tracks. He wasn't asked to pay that, was he? The person, unless the person was of very low intelligence serving him, they did not just read off the number off the screen and say, yes, that'll be £4 billion, please, sir, did they?
Well, no, it does say the till tried to charge him that. I mean,
was this a self-serve? Was this one of these electronic things?
No, they scanned the eye drops, and this is the figure it came up with.
Right.
Alex, you seem very cynical already.
Okay, come on.
Anyway, cameraman Martin Kidlow.
I couldn't believe my eyes. Should have gone to Specsavers. Are we going to get those remarks?
You've ruined the end of the article.
Right. Sorry.
Martin Kidlow went to buy the bottle of drops at the store in Wrexham, North Wales, to stop his eyes getting dry. But he was shocked when the price of £4,031,626,711.51 propped up on the till, the equivalent of more than half the annual NHS budget for Wales, instead of the expected price of £5.99. Sorry, £5.95. The 55-year-old from Wrexham told the Press Association, "I've recently had my eyes tested, and I popped in to get a prescription and to get the eye drops because my eyes get dry. The girl scans the drops, and then she was having a bit of a nightmare as it scanned it again, and this price popped up. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw the price. I'm glad I just had my eyes tested."
Rob, please.
The assistant,
let's terminate this. Look, what's happened here, right, is he's gone and had this experience. And can you imagine this loser ringing round different press organisations to see if they're interested in his story? Listen, I've got this story for you, right? I just went into Specsavers and bought some eye drops, and they're like, yeah, okay, please get on with it. He's like, yeah, and it rang up on the till as £4 billion. And I reckon there was some journo there was having a very dull day, and they just took pity on him, said, fine, we'll feature your story. And he's like, do I get any money for it? And they're like, no. And they hang up. That's what happened here. Or it's some sort of Specsavers self-promotion exercise. Good name for an album.
Yeah. A spokesman for Specsavers said, our in-store scanners are very sensitive, and in this instant appeared to have processed the customer's ID number instead of the bottle's barcode.
Well, can you imagine if he didn't look properly, Rob, and he just put in his bank card? I'm assuming, and put in the PIN. I'm presuming your bank would automatically not authorise that amount.
Alex, you're ruining this story. He said to the assistant he was going to pay cash, but he decided to try and pay with card instead.
Right. Oh, okay.
But luckily, he'd had his eyes tested, so he...
Right, well, I say, this is the first story we've ever featured from the Lincolnshire Live, and I say it'll be the last.
Right, okay. Well, right, let's move swiftly on then. As you ruined that story, Alex. I mean, what a nice little story, a nice friendly story for the listeners. Anyway, so my next story is from the 17th of May. It's by Mark Dowling from The Standard, which not the Evening Standard, the Standard which apparently covers Chester. Chester!
Chester!
Which is a very niche reference there.
Isn't that Alan Partridge when he's being headlocked by the superfan?
Yeah, and he was questioning where his brother was.
Leeds!
Leeds! Yeah. This is a great headline, by the way. Drunk men who remove duck from McDonald's. Sorry. Drunk men who removed duck from McDonald's in Chester later arrested for swearing.
What? Later arrested, not for stealing duck, but for swearing. Sorry, what do you mean stole a duck from McDonald's? I didn't know McDonald's had ducks.
They didn't steal it. They didn't steal it. They removed it.
Okay, sorry.
The duck had no legal right to be there.
At what point? Oh, right. Okay, they were doing McDonald's. I thought that this McDonald's was very scenic. It had a nice pond, had some ducks in it, and they just took the duck away for some nefarious purpose.
Oh, no, these are two do-gooders who have gone to McDonald's to get a meal.
Do you think McDonald's should get into like game, a higher order, like a sort of high, for a better class of customer, like even duck? Like you could have McDuck. You could have a sort of a pheasant burger. I don't know what you'd call that. What are the gamey type birds? Partridge. Is that
partridge? Yeah, that's where. You could have pigeon as well. You could have pigeon.
Yeah.
Do you eat grouse?
Yes, grouse. That's it.
Yeah,
McGrouse.
Yeah.
Grouse nuggets.
I mean, Alex, there's a good reason why they don't sell it, because no fucker in there's going to buy it. Well, they might do, I suppose. Maybe in more affluent parts of the country, they may do. I don't know.
Rob, I want to talk to you about this. Now we're talking about McDonald's. I do not understand what has happened. I understand that different branches of McDonald's, you'll get a different customer service experience. But in the last 6 weeks, I would say, I've gone to the local McDonald's Penge twice, right? And what happens is, because they've started doing deliveries, when you get in there and you make your order on the touchscreen, the wait for your food is extraordinarily long. Basically, the people who are at the counter are all delivery drivers in their helmets waiting for these orders. Whether you've ordered one Coke or one fries or a meal, there's no sort of prioritising of orders. And I waited 25 minutes just to get a chicken burger and chips. This is contrasted to when I was a teenager, when you'd walk in, order, and within 2 minutes you'd have your food. Hence the sort of the name fast food.
Do you know what, Alex? I completely agree with you. And I was where was I? I think I was in Walthamstow a few weeks back, and we went into McDonald's just to get I don't know, a quick snack. And as you rightly say, the delivery drivers and the Uber Eats drivers came in and collected their meal a lot quicker, and it was chaos. And as you rightly say,
absolute chaos. I felt so sorry for the workers. But like McDonald's, what are you doing? Your business is about. I walk in, I'm waiting long. I went to a Byron burger the other day, right? My Byron burger, which was absolutely delicious, came in half the time that a McDonald's one did. McDonald's, this makes no sense.
What we also did the other day is we did the table service.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Which takes even longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's... The world truly is going to pot, Alex.
But you would hope that some of the higher-ups at McDonald's have noticed this and thought, this is a real problem. Like, because this would completely deter me. What I've realised is, Rob, if you want a McDonald's, the best thing to do is go drive-through. There's no wait there. Order it, you pick it up. That's what to do. Go drive-through. Eat it in the car.
Alex, I like the idea that I like the idea that the higher-ups, the higher echelons at McDonald's are sitting there being concerned about the wait times of their customers' meals, but I'm pretty sure as long as that money keeps rolling in, they couldn't give a shit.
But Rob, it will impact on their profits, and if they do want to improve their profits, they need to start doing grouse nuggets and McDuck, the McDuck burger.
I mean, I'm already concerned, and I know that they've put out this campaign saying, "Oh yeah, it's 100% pure chicken in their chicken nuggets," but I'm still dubious.
what part of the chicken exactly?
Exactly, and there's even less meat on a duck. There's going to be a lot of beaks and feathers in that. Anyway.
Allegedly.
I'd
like to say that I'm sure if McDonald's do go into the duck sort of culinary area, their duck will be of the highest quality. It won't be mallards just stolen from a local park. This will be proper good ducks.
And I think it'll be ducking awful.
Right.
Allegedly. Two drunk men who helped remove a duck from a... Sorry, I just can't get through that sentence. Two drunk men who helped remove a duck from Chester's McDonald's branch were later arrested for continually swearing at police.
Okay, I want to know what happened.
So, I don't know where this guy's from. Lee Goodin, I think, 31 of Coniston Close, Connors Key, had gone with Neil Edward Cecil, great name, of somewhere in Wrexham that looks Welsh, to Chester on April 27th to celebrate the latter's 40th birthday.
Sorry, gone to McDonald's to celebrate a 40th birthday?
Yes.
Right. Was the Hamburglar there? Did they have a big party? Rob, they've completely gotten rid of Ronald McDonald now, haven't they? It's like they're embarrassed.
Yeah, I think all the characters, they said the Hamburglar, the weird purple thing.
Rob, there must have been a committee meeting where they said, with all this stuff around sort of things like in Britain, Operation U-Tree and the Me Too movement and everything else, they probably finally realised there was something slightly sinister about especially people like the Hamburglar and stuff like that. It is slightly sinister.
Yeah, agreed. And I think, as you rightly say, I can imagine if I'd seen her Hamburglar even, as a child in full costume, I think I would have been scared.
Right, Rob.
The man had a hamburger as a head.
Yeah, that's weird. He was a meathead. Come on, Rob.
Edward Cecils went to the McDonald's branch on Foregate Street to get a cheeseburger. Chester Magistrates Court heard on Friday, May the 17th. But after successfully removing the duck from the restaurant, the situation escalated into a large disturbance. Both pleaded guilty the first opportunity to abusive behaviour and resisting a constable, and were given a 12-month conditional discharge. So, prosecuting Natalie Cassidy, who I think... Natalie Cassidy, didn't she used to play Sonia in EastEnders?
I don't know.
Okay. Said police were called, and one of the McDonald's staff said the two defendants were causing issues and had asked to be removed. Godon was loudly talking about how he had saved a duck while swearing. Police continually watched both Godon and Edward Cecils not to... police warned both Godon and Edward Cecils not to swear, while Godon tried to grab one of the officers' stab vests. Both smelt strongly of intoxicants.
Sorry, I'm a bit confused. There was a duck in McDonald's, and they helped remove it.
Yes.
So basically, they just happened to be punters in there, and they picked up the duck and took it out.
I think what happened was they were out drinking, celebrating Edward Cecil's double-barrel name 40th birthday. Had obviously gone to get a celebratory meal at McDonald's, a slap-up meal after a heavy drinking session, and had assisted the staff at McDonald's removing a duck. But in the process, had obviously gone outside and then were being quite exuberant and swearing and bragging of their feat of rescuing this duck, to the extent that police were called, and as a result of this, they assaulted the police officers.
Right.
So Edward Cecil was told to get away from the scene after he pushed past two police officers as he noticed his phone was being restrained. He said, "I've done nothing wrong. You chucked my fucking mate on the floor." One officer warned him, "Swear one more time and you're being locked up." To which Edward Cecil replied, "I don't give a shit." Edward Cecil
I just don't understand
how
taking this duck out escalated into this situation.
Yeah, it doesn't really...
It doesn't sound to me like anybody really wanted them to remove the duck either.
No, that's true. They know his asked.
Or was there even a duck, or have they just concocted that they removed a duck?
No, I think everyone is in agreement there was a duck at one stage. Anthony Antowich, defending Gordon, said the incident was completely stupid and out of character for the defendant. He said he goes into McDonald's and there's a duck in there. For whatever reason, he gets very aerated.
So he got pissed off by the presence of the duck. This to him was like... this was incendiary, seeing a duck in McDonald's, was it?
Well, Edward Cecils defending himself said, "I just want to apologise for my behaviour. I'd gone out for my 40th birthday, gone to McDonald's to get some food, and there was a duck. I don't know how it escalated from there. To be honest, I'm ashamed for the way I acted."
Do you think maybe the duck spoke to him, a la Buddy and the cat from that great story we had many years ago? Maybe the duck said something snide to him, Rob.
Yeah, quite possibly. Maybe he was provoked.
Ducks can be provocative.
All we know, he'd gone in there to order himself a chicken McWrap.
Well, the duck.
No, not the duck.
The duck. What did the duck order? What was the duck doing in there?
Well, ducks are herbivores, aren't they?
Are they?
Even though I don't know. It obviously gone in there to order some chips just for its long flight back to the pond. And obviously seen maybe this guy who's obviously been drinking was stumbling about the place and maybe accidentally kicked the duck out of the way. The duck retaliated by pecking his ankles, as you would, and it went from there.
I wish somebody had the wherewithal in that McDonald's, this rabble who were in there, to have taken a picture of the duck. I'd like to see a duck queuing at the counter of McDonald's.
Yeah, I would actually. Also, you're making assumptions. How do we know that the duck wasn't using the screens? Oh, actually, no, what am I talking about? It's a duck. Of course, he would have more sense that order from the screens and obviously queued at the counter. Yeah,
and probably waited 25 minutes for his fast food.
As we've already discussed, it's chaos.
Okay, Rob, it is time for our listener story of the week. And Rob, can I just check? We're spelling out local anaesthetic at the end of this episode, aren't we? According to a theme.
Yes, that's right. And I forgot to say that Steve actually suggested a theme, which
okay, don't tell me it now.
No, I vetoed it because I don't think I could do it, so I don't think you could do it either.
What was the theme?
Indian food.
Yeah, nah. I'm not a big eater of Indian food. So we're just going to choose a theme, are we?
Yeah, I think we choose a theme, yeah. But again, listeners, please submit your themes and we will attempt to do them as long as they're not as hard as Steve's.
Okay, so we'll just think of a theme at the end then, Rob.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, because we had the duck story, what about bird breeds?
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, let's do that.
I will be really stuck, but it'll be fun. Okay. Right, Rob, so who's the listener story from this week?
So this week, the story is from Ben. Now, this is a different Ben to the Ben we featured before, although I know that he has had stories on here before. We have a few listeners called Ben.
I'm sure we've got many. So where's this Ben from?
Off the top of my head, I can't remember.
You told me earlier.
No, I didn't.
Okay, so you don't know where Ben is from?
No, I'm sorry, Ben. You have told me and I apologise. But at the same time, I'm glad you liked the pilot episode.
Oh, so he got it as well. Oh, yeah, because we said anybody who submits a story from now on can have it.
Yeah. Also, I apologise that you had to download Dropbox in order to listen to it. But, yeah, anyway, never mind. Right, anyway, so this is our obligatory story from The Mirror. Because we have to feature it at least once a week. It's from the 9th of May. It's by Kelly Ann Mills, who I know we featured before. But this is a triple header story, Alex. 3 journalists.
Eh?
Yeah, so this is by Kelly Ann Mills, Katie Timms, and John Bett.
So how do you think it's that one person takes up the story and they send it to a colleague and the colleague says there's lots of errors and they add to it and then somebody else adds to it and then they all have to be credited? That must be how it works.
I've no idea.
Or the editor's not happy with it each time and keeps farming it round to different people. Either way, what the hell is going on in the Mirror that you need 3 journalists to write a tabloid story?
Yeah, absolutely. And also, when you hear the headline, the fact that this merited 3 different journalists is truly baffling.
Is the headline Fat Man Gets Stuck Down Well?
No. Although, no, it's not related to that. No, there's no way I can try and spin that. Right, this is the headline. Mermaid forced into sea after getting
banned. Shut up, stop. Mermaid. Mermaids don't exist anymore. Mermaid forced into sea, right?
After getting banned from wearing tail in swimming pool. Alex, you have to be very careful because these people identify themselves as mermaids.
What people? What are you talking about?
Mermaids.
Mermaids are not real.
Alex, you can't say that anymore. Not in this
Can't
age.
you?
No. These people identify as mermaids, and I respect their decision.
Okay.
A human mermaid said she's being forced into the sea as a local swimming pool.
Sorry, you can't have the 2 words, human mermaid.
Well, hang on. A mermaid's not human?
Do you think there are horses out there that identify as unicorns, Rob? Listen, I've got a great story. Me,
Right.
my dad, my mum, my sister are walking through a lovely part of the New Forest. And as you know, in the New Forest, there are very open bits and more forested bits.
Right. Okay.
My mum, who does tend to come out with classic quotes and not even realise she's doing it, was once walking around the New Forest and said, when you really think about it, there's not a lot of trees in the New Forest, which I've since been correcting her about every time we go, and I say, see those? There are a hell of a lot of trees in the New Forest, number one. But as we're walking, we see this lovely white horse, Rob, just standing by a brook. And my mum points at it and says, look, it's a unicorn without the horn. And I said to her, you mean a horse?
Sorry. Was she being ironic?
No. These are the kind of things she comes out with. Look, it's a unicorn without a horn. No, it's a horse. So this is now gone down in infamy. Yeah. But her reasoning is, well, it looked quite like a unicorn without a horn. And it's
a white horse. Yeah, of course it does.
A white horse. Absolutely.
I once had a girlfriend. That's
just stop there, Rob. You once had a girlfriend. Well done.
And we went on a day trip to Liverpool, and we were walking around the Albert Dock.
Big mistake.
I said it before in this podcast, I love Liverpool. It's a fantastic city. Anyway, we were walking around the Albert Dock, and she pointed at the water and said, "Is that real water?"
Yeah, that kind of thing. That kind of thing. We were once away when I was younger, like early teens in America, and she pointed at this animal. We were all out. She went, "Look at that. What is that?" And we all just looked at her and we said, "It's a squirrel." Yeah, that one as well. It's a squirrel. That's what it is, Mum. Anyway, what were we talking about? A mermaid.
We're talking about mermaids, yeah, right. So a human mermaid said she's being forced into the sea as a local swimming pools refused to let her wear her tail in the water.
Now, hang on a minute. Whether or not you believe you're a mermaid or not, a swimming pool, a privately owned swimming pool, has the absolute right to have whatever dress code it has. Now, no, it cannot say if you're of a certain ethnicity you can't get in our pool, or if you're of a certain sexuality you can't get in a pool. They have no right to discriminate based on that. But she is not a mermaid, and she's obviously wearing something to make herself appear as a mermaid, and they have an absolute right to say you cannot wear your mermaid costume.
Well, that's your opinion, Alex.
Well, I think it's the law of the land.
Well, Becky Allen likes to don her tail and go for a swim, but says every swimming pool nearby has refused to let her or her mermaid friends into the pool.
Right.
The 29-year-old says she is being put at risk, as the only option left is to go and swim in the sea.
No, the other option is to take off
something goes wrong.
No, the other option is to take off the mermaid tail and just swim, and you can still swim. What are you talking about? You're not being forced into the sea. You never came from the sea. You're not a mermaid.
I never thought you were this close-minded, Alex.
Rob, this isn't about being close-minded. It's absolutely fine if you want to, but you cannot. Look, I understand a person who is born with the gendered term male, identifying as a female. That is perfectly understandable. And that's been happening since the dawn of time, by the way, across many different cultures. There's no problem with that. But those two things do exist, but I can't just turn up to a pool wearing a horse outfit and say, I am a horse and I want to swim in your pool.
I mean, it's worth a go, though, isn't it?
It is. Maybe a shark outfit is a more proper analogy. Or I'm dressed like a crab.
Again, I'd love to see that. Anyway,
I'm Harry the Crab. I want to swim in your pool. No. Well, you're forcing me into the sea then. Fine. Fuck off and drown.
No, Alex, you're twisting things, because crabs don't swim. They scuttle on the bottom.
True.
So I think if you're
okay, I'm Harry the Crab. I want to scuttle across the bottom of your pool, not a euphemism.
I think that'd be fine, because let's face it, if people are going to say yes, because you're going to only be doing that for a matter of minutes before you have to get out of the pool, because otherwise you'll drown.
I've got very good lung capacity. I don't actually. I used to when I was younger, but not anymore.
I'm very sorry to hear that.
Thanks.
Becky from Plymouth said the city was behind the times on the matter and is treating its mermaids worse than other cities.
Did you say this is this a Plymouth-related story?
Well, it's from the Mirror, but...
How come Helen didn't submit it? This must have been... Did you search? There must have been a local news version of this.
Becky, also known as Plymouth Mayflower Mermaid, or May for short, said, myself and the other local mermaids are left to fend for ourselves in the ocean, which can be very dangerous due to the tidal pools. and lack of safety supervisors.
Is she being serious?
Yeah, I think so.
Right.
We do lower the risks ourselves by swimming in pods and having spotters on the land, but this isn't always an option for us.
Sorry, have you got a picture of her? How does she? What does she do? Does she put something on her lower half to make her appear like a mermaid?
Yeah, tail.
There must be a pic. Okay, right, Rob. There must be a picture of this, right?
Just if you Google Becky Allen,
Becky. I'm just going to put Becky Mermaid,
Plymouth.
Right, here we go. Fed up of this. Yeah, Plymouth Herald. It's right there, Rob. Yay, we've got the local news version.
Again,
Rob,
this was submitted.
You promised,
hang on.
Kyber and
this
Steve.
was submitted to us. I didn't have to look for this.
Okay, yeah, she is dressed in yeah, well, I guess it's an all-in-one sort of mermaid costume.
Yeah, exactly.
Rob, have you got a... Can I forward you this story? I just want you to scroll through the images, because I think your images might be different than mine.
Okay, I've got 3 images on my story, but please forward it. 4 images, actually.
Is one of the images somebody wearing a pink mermaid outfit, sort of...
Pink? No, I haven't got that one. I've got her in a paddling pool.
Right. Is that the extent of her swimming ability, is it?
No, right, there's some pictures of her in the sea as well.
Right, Rob, can you open this now, please? I've just sent it to you.
I've got the story open. Oh, fuck it. Fuck off.
So I just want you to scroll through the pictures. I'm not going to say anything. Scroll slowly through them.
Oh, there's a video as well. Hang on. Am I watching the video or the pictures?
You're looking at the pictures.
Are you talking about Pearl by any chance?
The rather large mermaid dressed in the pink mermaid outfit.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
They really do go all out, don't they? I mean, I have to say, the costumes are absolutely amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's what they are. A swimming pool. Do you not think a swimming pool has a right to say no to that, because there is a health and safety issue? Number one, the sequins could come off in the water, but number two, these people could drown because they don't have the full use of their legs. Well,
possibly, but this is why they need to get the practice, Alex.
Right, okay. Please continue.
Oh, well. May said that businesses are aggressive and do not consider letting out facilities despite having risk assessments and safety procedures. She said, "We have offered to hire pools and lanes, but we are met with nothing but aggression and a big fat no. As mermaiding becomes more popular, there should and needs to be a fin-friendly pool to prevent any risks, especially as now mermaid swimming lessons for kids in Saltash.
Right.
It's only a matter of time before something goes wrong on our shores." I mean, the story sort of continues in a similar vein throughout. Obviously, there's a writer reply from a local swimming pool. Yeah, and I mean, as you rightly say, it's on health and safety grounds. Anyway, more interestingly, let's move on to the comments of this story. Would you like to hazard a guess as to what kind of tone the commenters of the Daily Mirror have gone with?
Mocking, condescending, the opposite of supportive.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So Jeff C99 says, "Oh, fuck off, wacko."
Whoa.
A bit harsh. Sommer says, "My local gymkhana won't allow unicorns for safety reasons either. After a child was impaled on a horn in the egg and spoon race. It's a cruel world."
Good comment.
Yeah.
You don't get these kind of comments in the sun, Rob.
No, true. G-Star72 says, "Get help." Fred Died says, "She's no Daryl Hannah."
I was thinking of Daryl Hannah and Splash. Yeah.
Yeah. Joe Castro says, and if nothing else, this just epitomises our podcast. "I don't even know why I read the news anymore." Just a man who's lost all hope in all forms of media.
Yep.
85 Tom says, "Attention-seeking idiots." Fade to Grey says, "Nice tale showing about the face."
Whoa.
Yeah. As you can tell, Alex, they only get just as equally as supportive as this. So let's leave that there.
Well, thank you very much, Ben. That is a brilliant story, and what a fitting way, Rob, to bring this episode of Local Anaesthetic to a close. I don't know why it's fitting. I just said it.
Like a tale that fits the
I'm not there yet, Rob, because we're looking forward with a mixture of
sorry.
eager anticipation yet trepidation to our next episode, which will be episode 275, Rob, as we move ever more forward, like...
A woman pulling on the brightly sequined tail of a mermaid, just like that.
Well, I think we need more than that. Pulling on a brightly sequined tail of a mermaid, turning up our local pool, being told to sod off, and going for a long swim in the ocean, Rob. Later to be picked up by despairing lifeguards. Just like that, we move ever more forward to our next episode, which will be episode 275. And we, of course, can be found on our website. That is lapodcast.net lapodcast.net, and from there you can download all of our previous episodes for free. There's a donate button in the top right hand corner if you want to set up a one-time donation or a rolling donation to help support this podcast, to help keep it afloat, if you will pardon the pun. Please do that. If you go onto your podcast app, whatever you use, the Apple Podcast app or any of the other apps like Overcast, you can download the episodes from there, and of course you can leave us a review on those. That really does help us. Always hit subscribe. That really does help us. We're on YouTube. If you go onto YouTube and search for lapodcast.net, you'll see our logo. Click on it, and all of our episodes now are being uploaded on there. Plus there are a few videos of funny stories we've had from over the years knocking around on there. We are on Spotify as well. We're pretty much everywhere where you would think that we would be.
Yeah,
what I will
absolutely.
say is that if you want to send us a story, you want to submit us a story, you can post it on Facebook, because we are on Facebook, facebook.com/LA Podcast. We're on Twitter at LA Podcast, and you can also email us the good old-fashioned way at lapodcast.net@gmail.com. Rob, I've really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's been a good episode. Also, I mean, I texted you last week. If anyone does listen to our podcast via YouTube, it's quite funny to turn on the closed captions, because... it predicts what we're trying to say, and it doesn't always get it.
Does it predict what we're trying to say, or does it try and read what we're trying to say in real time?
Yeah, obviously it tries to read, and because I tend to stutter when I'm thinking, it really struggles with that, and it's quite entertaining to see what it tries to anticipate.
Yeah, that's
it's worth it. It's worth it.
Well, thank you for listening, everybody. We'll be back very soon with another episode of LA Podcasts and more local news. God bless.
You've forgotten already.
I did, yes. Sorry. Okay, go on then.
Albatross.
What fucking bird begins with an N?
Nightingale?
Nightingale.
Albatross.
E? Why am I getting all the hard ones?
Emu?
Eagle.
Oh, no, okay. Swallow.
T. Twit.
Heron.
Emu.
Tit. Tit. Yeah. That gives you
Okay,
I.
what bird begins with I?
Indian sparrow.
Rob, this is why we stopped doing this, and cormorant. God bless.
And keep it local.